Top fan, Cheryl Tome says, can we assume that the rule of law is dead? Sure looks like it. Why would corruptocrats, good term, allow the serfs to demand enforcement of any law? The corruptocrats are doing everything they can to make sure that the law is not enforced. But the one thing that the corruptocrats didn't count on was the boy at the end of the parade with the emperor's new clothes. They did not count on, first of all, they didn't count on Donald Trump winning. And secondly, I'm beginning to hope that the reason we didn't see any of this indictments or anything earlier was that Donald Trump or advisors said, if you fight it now, it's going to look like you're trying to block the Mueller report. Your hands are clean. Let them do it. They can't delay it for 4 years. They can delay it for 2. So let them do their Mueller report, and when that report is finished, then we go on the offensive. If that was the plan the whole time, then great. But it's starting to look like the plan now. And see, here's the thing, Charles. This is a really important point. This is one of the things I've been thinking of. One of the things I need to make sure I get into into that firewall tomorrow. Is you say something here that's really interesting. You say, why would the corruptocrats allow the serfs to demand enforcement of any law? And here's the entire lesson of the whole thing. So I think this is the most important point that I made or I've heard anybody make. It's not that the corruptocrats allowed the serfs to do something. It's that the serfs allowed the corruptocrats to do something. That's the whole thing right there. That's all of it. The serfs allowed these corruptocrats to get away with these things, not the other way around. That's the whole story right there. We let it happen. We let it happen, and we keep letting it happen. And if we ever decided to stop letting it happen, then everything would be it'd be like click your heels and you're back in Kansas. It would just be just that simple. If we just decided that the time had come as a country to obey the law, that everybody has to obey the same law, if that were to happen, then it would be over. And the only way that'll happen is if the American people, as a population, demands it, which is why I say that anybody who's a Republican caught in this net needs to go down because they're guilty, not because of politics, because they're guilty. But if they go down, then hopefully the other half of the country will see that this is not a partisan counter coup or anything. It's just simply, look, we just want the law enforced. And we can agree to disagree on everything, as we have in the past, but the law's the law. And you know, you don't get to declare your city a sanctuary city. You don't have the power to do that. You can provide city services for people if you want to do that, but you don't get to declare that San Francisco is not part of the United States of America when it comes to border protection. Just all of it. Just follow the law. And then, of course, your immediate reply would be, well, the laws are racist. And that led me to think about something, because I caught a little glimmer of something on, sometimes I listen to Sirius XM comedy channels, and Kevin Hart has a channel. There's a show on there called The Earthquake, which is just plain batty. And this very, very angry black man was saying that the problem's not with the police shooting people. The problem is that the problem is the law. And he said, the law says that if a policeman feels like he's threatened, he can kill anybody he wants to. I'm pretty sure that's not what the law says. But what it got me thinking of is, all right, so let's just take a municipality, take Compton. If look, and there's no question there's some abuse, police abuse, no question about that. I'm not trying to pretend that's not there. But take Compton. If you're so convinced that the police are utterly corrupt and murderous, then here's what we'll do. Compton is all yours. Compton within the city limits of Compton, there will not be any LAPD or any LAFD for that matter, and you can police yourself however you want to. The reason I agree with the reason I like these kind of things is by granting them the premise, as we said many times. It's the best way to defeat the argument. What if you were to take this guy, this angry guy, and say to him, okay, if you absolutely have this conviction, and the majority of citizens in Compton feel this way, then put it up to a municipal vote, and if it passes, there will be no LAPD in Compton. The cars may need to occasionally move through Compton, but they will be legally prevented from acting in Compton. You're on your own. Let it go. There, see, and look, I got a feeling that if you did that, that things would become so unmanageable so fast that people started appreciating the police. But it's possible that the people in Compton could come up with a system that works better for them than the LAPD. And if they do, then that's awesome. That's great. So it's a win-win. Either, complain about the police and the existence of the police, and there's some things to complain about. But rather than trying to fix the transgressions, and I have a very, very, very strong hatred of crooked cops, or I really have a special place for them. So if you've got these guys who are either violent without cause, or they're shaking people down or whatever, those cops need to go to jail for the rest of their lives. They should be held to a higher standard. I think they should be. In fact, I know they should be morally held to a higher standard in terms of punishment for these kind of things. They've been empowered through the color of law to pull the trigger and kill people, and that requires a higher level of responsibility to come along with that prerogative. And if you're one of these people that are destroying the faith of the citizens under your protection by overt brutality or whatever, anything, you should really go away for a long time. The nice thing about that is that I'm not. Somebody said you can't have the country. Mobile Moto says, I don't care for ruining the country to prove a point. See Venezuela, California. It's like, I'm not talking about ruining the country. On the contrary, I'm talking about having a small part of a city ruin itself as a experiment and as a object lesson, and as conceivably as a possible solution to the problem. That's what I think is so swell.